He done quit his 9 to 5. He drink all the time, and now he's living in a bottle. See that black boy over there running scared. His old man got a problem, and it's a bad one. He done pawned off damn near everything. His old woman a wedding ring for bottle. And don't you think it's a crime when time...
It certainly is. Certainly is a crime when time after time people are in the bottle. No question. No question. Hey, welcome to the Reality Check with Charles Butler. We're broadcasting live out here, and I can tell you that it was, thanks for your comments about Judge Janine. She did a good job. Sorry we had technical difficulties, but hey, it was beyond my control, beyond my purview, so to say. But I do want to talk about Ice Cube. I think that this young man, bless his heart. I mean, he just put it out there. He says things that Charles Butler would say. Okay. You know, I am known for getting to the point. I am known for, as a friend of mine said a few minutes before we went on, I was talking to a pastor. Charles, what I love about you is you never change. You're always the same. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but what I try to do is to stay consistent and in my beliefs. And my beliefs are my beliefs. And I believe that we need to work together. We need to do things that that are necessary as Americans, not as black people, as white people, but as Americans. We need to come together, and we need to stop. We just stop identity politics. And there are issues out here certainly that the Black American community should certainly address, and a lot of it has to do with their attitude and things that they have accepted as being part of the culture. Ice Cube was very clear, and he said something that really resonated with me on a number of different levels. And he said, hey, I reached out to the Biden administration, but I guess they didn't think that I had anything to say. So the Trump people reached out, and they were very clear that they respected what I had to say. Now, you look at some of the pundits out here, some of the black pundits. Oh, Trump, he's full of stuff. Oh, Trump, he's not serious. Oh, Trump, he's not going to do anything. Well, let me just say this about Donald Trump and his real record. Donald Trump has done more for black people in 4 years than Barack Obama did in 8, than Bill Clinton did in 8, that's 16, than Jimmy Carter did in his 4, that's 2022. So you have a guy who people declare as a racist, who call him a liar, who's delivered on everything he said he was going to deliver on, who's addressed the issues of black people, i.e. immigration. Illegal immigration negatively impacts black people first. This people of color crap is just that, crap. I don't play people of color. And those who listen to my show, you know that. I don't play people of color, and I don't declare, all these people who are trying to get on the bandwagon as, they're not descendants of slaves. They come over here with families intact and the whole 9 yards, seeking refugee status and immigration status and getting jobs that black people could only are totally denied. I never thought that discrimination was as prevalent as it is. But if an employer, and this is not Charles Butler speaking, this is Pew Research, this is Brookings Institute, this is Heritage, employers would rather hire an immigrant than hire a black person. So where are we to go? This is our country. Don't talk to me about Africa. You know a damn thing about Africa. That's another moronic statement we got going. I'm an African American. No, you're a black American, dude. African American. You don't know a damn thing about Africa. And let me say this about Africa and those shithole countries. When you leave the tourist areas that most Americans are in, you are in the stuff. And it starts with an S and it ends with a T. These people don't have running water. People, children aren't going to school because they're walking miles to get clean water. If I ever get some money, I swear to God, if I ever get some money, real money, I'm going to build wells in these villages so that the children don't have to walk and the people don't have to walk 3 or 4 hours to get fresh water. I swear to God. So that's my promise to Africans and to Black Americans. But I want you to listen to what Ice Cube had to say because it's important. Let's listen.
The Trump campaign came to me and asked me to explain to them some of the contract with Black America. That's what I did. I'm not playing no more of these games, these political games. We're not part of a team. We have very broad problems, especially the wealth gap in this country when it comes to Black Americans. So I'm going to whoever's in power and I'm going to speak to them about our problems specifically. I'm not going there talking about minorities. I'm not going there talking about people of color or diversity or none of that stuff. I'm going there for Black Americans, the ones who are the descendants of slaves.
That's what I told Al Sharpton when we had a meeting. These people want to talk about people of color with that bullshit. I'm like, I don't believe in that people of color bullshit. We don't have anything in common with Latinos. We don't have anything in common with the Indians who are here. And I'm talking about the East Indians, not the so-called Native Americans. Those are the real Indians, but these people are Asian Indian. We don't have anything. They hate us. The Asian Indians hate us. They have a thing called the caste system. And guess who's at the bottom of that caste? People who look like me. They have a group of people in India called rag pickers. Look them up. And what these people do is they go out and pick up rags that people have used to wipe their behinds and recycle them. True story, man. Just, go look it up. Don't take my word for it. You said Ice Cube. Hey, Tom from Baltimore. Don't challenge me. Go do your homework. What I said is what I said. Is Ice Cube. He's working with Trump on the platinum program. And that was Ice Cube I just played. Now, 50 Cent came out yesterday and said, well, it's actually in the New York Post this morning, a big picture of 50 Cent. Better known as Mr. Jackson. He said that he was going to support Trump because he didn't want to spend all his money in taxes, and he wanted to be able to give his money to his children and the people he wanted his money to go to, which is totally correct. Okay, now the Pope. Now, you know that the Pope has been compromised. You know that the Vatican has been compromised and Jesus has been compromised. Pope makes a call on same-sex marriage unions, a major shift in the Vatican's position. Now, what does the Pope call for? This is interesting. What is the Pope calling for? Is the Pope calling for recognition of same-sex marriages? I mean, who's gotten to this guy? Let's see here. Legal recognition of homosexual unions or placing them on the same level as marriage would mean not only the approval of deviant behavior, but would also obscure basic values which belongs to the common inheritance of humanity, said the document, according to the CNA. I'll be damned. They didn't change. I'll be damned. Here is the Catholic Church and the leader of the Catholic Church, the Pope, the man who's supposed to be His Holiness, who stands up and finally says homosexuality is wrong. It not in the eyes of God, it's a sin. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Bishop Butler. Thank you, Bishop Butler. Let me get the bishop out me right now. Let me cool the bishop out. You guys out there, I know you're saying, that Charles Butler, he is wild. Yeah, if you see me out here on the tube, I'm out here doing my thing. Hey, Andrew said Kamala Harris is a Baram Indian. She wants to bring non-Indians here to work in tech jobs. No question. Her mom was from India. No question. Via Jamaica or something. Because, you know, these Indians, man, they go anywhere and work. They'll work in the Middle East. They'll work in China. They work anywhere to make that money. They just like the Chinese, dude. You know, those Chinese are being let free and they go anywhere. But I want to get back to this Pope article. Because I was going over here to look for the 50 Cent article that I saw earlier. And the Pope is doing his thing. What did the Pope have to say? Pope Francis. The documentary on file, the ministry of Pope Francis. Because I'm not a fan of Pope Francis, and those of you who know me know that I am not a friend of or a fan of Pope Francis. You know, and his poor use of the Vatican as this poor Jesus was not poor, people. By the way, do you think that the Roman soldiers would have gambled over a raggedy piece of cloth that was his robe? Do you think that they would have gambled over a rag? No, they gambled over a fine garment. Jesus wore fine clothes because God provided for him, just like God will provide for you. And we need to talk about that. But right now, I want to go back to this. Pope Francis has spoken up in defense of homosexual families and called for civil union laws for same-sex couples, a major shift from both his own and the Vatican's position on the matter. Homosexuals have a right to be part of the family. This is about money, folks. This is not about doctrine. This is not about the Bible. They go on to say they're children of God and have a right to a family. The pontiff says in a new documentary called Francisco, according to the Catholic News Agency. They go, no one should be thrown out or made miserable because of it, the Pope reportedly said in the documentary, which premiered Wednesday at the Roman Film Festival. He said, we have to create a civil union law. That way, they are legally covered. I stood up for that. The documentary also includes a story of Pontiff encouraging two Italian men in a same-sex relationship to raise their children in a parish. See, what we're talking about here is money. We're talking about these homosexuals becoming families. They didn't produce that child. I mean, here's a guy totally 180 out from the biblical doctrine. God says marriage is between a man and a woman to procreate. Somebody, I hope this Pope croaks sometime soon. I really do. He is a disgrace. And this is why I don't like Pope Francis. You know, I told you earlier, didn't like Pope Francis. Not a fan of Pope Francis. He's a poor, ignorant peasant who became a priest. He said, this is the first time as Pope, he's making such a clear statement. A prominent Jesuit who advocated for the church to more openly welcome LGBT members. Yeah, that ain't gonna work out too well. I can tell you that. This is because this Pope will be gone, and Christianity and the world will continue. Let's see. Let's see here. The Pope opposed efforts to legalize same-sex marriages in 2010 while he was Archbishop of Buenos Aires, and has only circumspect on his support of same-sex marriages. It's great. The shift, they say, will likely spark controversy among Catholics, with the CNA noting how until recently, support for such unions was deemed gravely immoral, and it still is. Let's not forget that it still is conceived gravely immoral. Under the direction of Pope Paul II, the Vatican Congregation and the Doctrine of Faith, who was a real Pope, Pope Paul II, slated that respect for homosexual persons was not approval of homosexual behavior or recognition of homosexual unions. Thank you, Pope Paul, a real Pope. I hope this Pope croaks. And if God is around, Lord, please do something. before this man creates situations that we cannot go back on. Legal recognition for homosexual unions and placing them on the same level as marriage would not only mean the approval of deviant behavior, but what would also obscure the basic values of that which belong to the common inheritance of humanity, the doctrine said, according to the CNA. Now, what doctrine is that? The doctrine, the legal doctrine of, Pope Paul, the agency. Okay, amazing. But these are things that we need to take into account.